Video is to explain how the impact team and project cycle will enable you to create lasting change in your schools. At TST, we believe lasting change in education comes from retaining our best teachers. That is you. We know that besides pay, the two top reasons teachers don't stay in the classroom are lack of leadership opportunities and working conditions. At TST, we attempt to address both of these issues. We empower our best teachers to step into leadership roles and provide them with support along the way. Over the course of the year, a teacher leader, who we call the teacher liaison, works with their admin to determine a school-wide need and leads a team of their colleagues called the impact team to address the identified need. Though the goals of each team may vary depending on the needs of the school, through the empowering process of working towards the goal as a team and the completion of the goal itself, our aim is to create a positive culture for the impact team and the school as a whole. By creating these leadership opportunities and building strong school culture, we aim to retain our best teachers and ultimately impact our students' achievement. So what does this look like on the ground? Teachers apply to TST and are selected to be a teacher liaison leading an impact team at their school. A teacher liaison is you, the teacher leader. An impact team has at least 4 full-time school faculty, focuses on a year-long goal, utilizes TST's project cycle to complete the goal, meets at least twice a month, collects data twice a year, and we hope that will enact lasting change for students, teachers, and the school community. How TST fits into this is that TST provides teacher liaisons with a framework and resources for leading the impact team, a community of teacher leaders to learn and lead with, and support from a coach not at their school site with virtual coaching sessions twice a month. It's during those virtual sessions that a TST coach helps you develop out and run your impact team. Examples of what to talk about during a coaching meeting could be anything from how to form a team, how to set up norms, how to develop project, ways to build trust, ways to get buy-in, working with your admin, even creating weekly meeting agendas. It's an important part of our model that you and the coach aren't at the same school site and that there's a safe space and an outside perspective as you work together. Instead of being present with your team and at your school, they are on the back end helping and supporting you to drive results. The teacher liaison leading the impact team creates lasting change in their schools via a year-long goal aligned to the school's mission. The goal is broken up into projects that are completed throughout the year. A year-long goal is a measurable outcome to impact your students or school community. Project is an aligned, actionable task to help achieve your overall goal. And the project cycle is the process of completing the project, planning, executing, and reflecting. The project cycle is designed so that a team can focus on a specific task that can be accomplished in 1 to 2 months. After each project is complete, the cycle restarts. Impact teams should complete 2 to 5 projects in a school year, all culminating in accomplishing the year-long goal. Here's an example of a year-long goal and the projects that will ensure the goal is met. This impact team has decided to focus on MTSS, and the goal for the team is to improve MTSS processes in order to ensure that 80% of students in Tier 2 meet their growth goals as measured by the NWEA. In order to accomplish this goal, they've broken it up into 3 projects. In Project 1, the impact team will complete a landscape analysis to survey and observe current MTSS practices in the building. In Project 2, the impact team will create a system for data collection and analysis. And in Project 3, the impact team will create a PD to brainstorm interventions and to help teachers provide those interventions to students. After each project is completed, the impact team will share the information with their school teams. Through these 3 projects, the impact team hopes to accomplish their year-long goal. This is what the forming stage and the project cycle look like. Team forming occurs first and happens in the beginning of the year. It's not repeated. It's about setting intention by forming the team, creating the year-long goal, brainstorming projects, deciding on the projects to complete to accomplish that goal, and ensuring admin buy-in. So as you embark on the project cycle, everyone is on board. The TL, the teacher liaison, plays a dominant role in this stage because team members' roles and responsibilities aren't yet clear. So then we begin the actual project cycle. The project cycle happens in 3 phases that are repeated for each new project. The first phase is planning the project, the second phase is executing the project, and the final phase is reflecting on the project. The TL completes the project cycle for each project, ultimately achieving the year-long goal. So now let's go a little deeper. We'll start with the forming stage, which occurs prior to the project cycle beginning. This stage happens once a year, and it's the foundation for the team and is critical for team buy-in. It's the time to set intention, align on purpose, and create systematic protocols. The TL is leading in this phase. So what happens? First, context is shared around the school and the team's history, and that happens during the summer as you filled out your background information tab. Second, a year-long goal is set that's aligned to the school's mission. That also occurs during the summer with the DCC, the TL, and the admin meeting together. And finally, brainstorming and mapping out projects that will lead to achieving the goal. This occurs during fall training and also during some forming meetings with you, meeting with your coach, and also with your impact team. This typically lasts 1 to 2 meetings, and final approval from admin must be completed by September 30th. The resources to use during this stage are the Background Information and Goals tab and the Project Summary tab in the Impact Hub. Key indicators of this stage include trust building, understanding the why, norms, creating positive relationships and getting to know each other, modeling vulnerability, risk-taking, engagement, transparency, and backwards planning. So now we dive into the project cycle. The first stage of the project cycle is the planning stage. This stage occurs in the beginning of a new project. It is crucial to spend time planning before implementing a project, and the TL is also leading on this phase. So what happens? During this time, we research project potential, we analyze the current state or need based on the school, and we divvy up responsibilities and lenses. Typically lasts about 2 meetings, with the first meeting looking at the current state in the school, and the second meeting being about setting up logistics, creating a timeline, and divvying up responsibilities. During this time, you'll use the individual project document. Key indicators of this stage are trust building, creating decision-making processes, being solutions-oriented when managing conflict, accountability, and backwards planning. Determining roles, responsibilities, and lenses is key to a well-planned project. Below is a brief explanation of each. A role is the function assumed by a person during each project. A responsibility is what each person is accountable for in the project. And a lens is paying disciplined attention to whatever the lens is while analyzing or diagnosing the impact of the design and implementation of a project. Examples of project lenses could include diversity, equity, and empowerment, racial equity, special populations, SEL, etc. The next stage of the project cycle is execution. This stage is where the project is getting done. At this time, the real work is happening outside of the meeting time. Meetings are reserved for feedback, solving issues, and ensuring accountability. So what happens during this stage? The team is actively working on the project, for example, doing observations or creating new rubrics. TL should be delegating and distributing leadership, holding people accountable, encouraging healthy feedback, and encouraging healthy conflict and giving feedback. It typically lasts about 1 to 2 meetings, but it may continue into a long-term system depending on the type of project. During this stage, you'll use the individual project document for most of your work. And key indicators of this stage are accountability, distributed leadership, team check-ins, team roles, and team responsibilities. The final stage of the project cycle is reflection. This stage is a time to look at your project summary tab and reflect on if the goal was met, the need was filled, and roles and responsibilities were followed. During this time, the team celebrates successes and reflects on the process and outcomes. You decide what lessons you learned, what went well versus what you'll do differently next time, and at times you'll share out your learning to the school community. This also typically lasts 2 meetings, with the first meeting being about reflecting and the second meeting planning for a share out to your school. During this stage, you'll use the project document and project planning summary tab to track completion of the project. Key indicators of this stage are admin check-ins, cycle of inquiry, feedback, and reflection. After reflecting, the project cycle restarts until the year-long goal is met. So how does TST fit into this? We know that every school has a different context and different needs. And because of that, there are some things that will look the same across schools and some things that will look different based on context. Here's a chart showing the TST way and the areas where there's flexibility. We'll start with the virtual coaching calls. You and your coach will work together on your coaching notes during each Google Hangouts coaching call. In terms of flexibility, you can choose the format for how you want to keep those coaching notes. The next is the project summary tab. You'll update this tab during the year and link individual project documents here. There isn't a whole lot of flexibility in this part just because it's best practice to frequently return to your strategic plan as an anchor for execution. The next is team goals. Every impact team must have a measurable year-long goal, but you and your admin select this based on your school need. For projects, you'll choose initiatives that will drive your end goal and build team culture. You and your coach and the impact team will brainstorm and select the projects. For the size of the team, we do ask that at least 4 staff members are part of your impact team. That said, this may be less depending on the organic size of your school or team. The impact team will meet or have at least 2 touch points per month. Depending on the context we're in, these touch points might be in-person meetings, virtual meetings, or individual check-ins with all team members. The next is implementing the project cycle. This is critical. There's not a whole lot of flexibility here because it's best practice to break down any goal into manageable sub-objectives. In terms of the number of projects and length, at least 2 projects per year should be completed, and a suggested project length is 1 to 2 months, or around 4 meetings. The length and number of projects may vary, however, depending on the goal. And finally, individual project documents. It's important that all 3 stages are executed for a successful project, and you'll use the individual project document as a place to capture all of your planning notes and things of that nature. However, you can drop links to relevant external documents here if you prefer to use a different format. Again, though each impact team has their own specific goals, such as increasing math scores or creating student promotion criteria, depending on the needs of their schools, through executing each project and ultimately completing the year-long goal, TST hopes to build teacher leaders and strong school culture so that we can retain our best teachers and ultimately impact our students' achievement generation after generation.